Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Sanctuary. Today we're looking at some more rookie content. I'm going to break down my top 5 at each position for Dynasty football. So let's dive straight in. Let's start with the big position, the glamour position. We're talking super flex. Of course, I'm starting to quarterbacks. At 5, Hendon Hooker. Yes, he's coming off the injury. Yes, he's going to be sitting for at least this year, potentially next year, but he does have starting caliber potential in the NFL. I think he's probably going to be a maybe day 2, probably day 3 pick, but if he gets a chance to start, he's going to be fantasy relevant. At 4, Will Levis. I like a lot. From the waist up, he's incredible. His footwork needs completely reworking. He's going to have some rushing potential. There's going to be some upside there, but he needs to sort those mechanics before I love him. CJ Stroud may be the most accurate quarterback we've seen in the last few years. He ticks so many boxes, but I have real questions about his ability to process. Can he go from 1 to 2 to 3? Didn't see him do it at Ohio State. It's a big step to project that to the NFL. He could absolutely do that and make this ranking look silly, but I need to see it before I'm putting him in the top 2. At 2, Anthony Richardson. Yes, we all know the ceiling is sky high, but for fantasy, the floor is the highest in the class. The second he steps foot on an NFL field as a starting quarterback, he is going to be fantasy relevant. You cannot say that about any other quarterback in this class. So, for me, QB2, but it's very close with QB1. And of course, at 1, Bryce Young. I think elite prospect. Yes, a little bit concerned about the height and the weight, but in terms of processing ability, in terms of playmaking ability, in terms of arm strength and accuracy, he is the full package. And I think that if the NFL believe and he goes top 5, I've got to buy in and believe he's a QB1 for Dynasty the second he walks on the field. Running back, of course, we can start at the top, but no, we're going to start at the bottom again. Sean Tucker in at 5, really fast, explosive athlete, really intrigued to see what he tested at his pro day. I think he's got the potential to be a steal in this year's draft. Zach Charbonnet, incredible vision, the best vision of any running back in this class. Does a lot well, but leaves you wanting just that little bit more. Devon Chain, ceiling is sky high. He is an explosive athlete, analytically fantastic, did so much in college, but a little bit shorter, a little bit skinnier. Can he carry the ball between the tackles is the big question. If he gets early round 2 draft capital, he could be a first round pick in rookie drafts. At 2, Jamal Gibbs. Incredible receiving production, super smooth athlete. If this was any other year, the hype would be unbelievable. But the guy at 1, we all know, I don't need to talk about him, Bijan Robinson, second best prospect in my model since 2012, absolutely elite upside and the 101 in pretty much any format. Wide receivers in at 5, Jalen Hyatt. Super fast, little bit of one-trick pony, undersized, but analytically ticks a lot of boxes, should get early draft capital, feels like the NFL like him, and if he hits, he's going to hit big. So I'm happy to take the punt at 5. At 4, Josh Downs. I feel like he's the most forgotten about prospect in this entire draft. Uber productive, really interesting skill set, a little bit undersized, potentially playing out the slot, but really like him, think he's going to be a steal. Zay Flowers, incredible route runner, super smooth athlete. I think 3 is about his ceiling, but again, you've got to feel good about getting him at the back end of the first in your Superflex rookie drafts. In at 2, JSN, incredible sophomore season. The gap between him and number 1 is tiny. I have these 2 really, really closely ranked. They could easily flip-flop before the NFL draft. But at 1, at the moment, Jordan Addison. Yes, people are a little bit lower on him post-combine. For me, I think analytically ticks every box. We saw him do it in Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett. He had a slightly less productive year, but let's be honest, that offense, there was plenty of options. Caleb Williams spreading the ball around. I've got no concerns about him transitioning to the next level. I think he could play outside more than most people are giving him credit for. So Jordan Addison, for me, my number one wide receiver. And then the last position, potentially the deepest tight end class we've seen in years. In at 5, Zach Kuntz, 100th percentile. Not love the athletic potential. Needs to round out that game. It's going to be really interesting to see what the NFL think of him. Darnell Washington, absolute giant of a man. I think the NFL are going to like him. He can be that 6th offensive tackle. He can be a big body in the receiving game. But for fantasy, I think the ceiling is lower than these next 3 because he's not a good route runner. He's never going to be because of the size he is. At 3, Luke Musgrave. Didn't see him test at the combine. Supposedly a really impressive athlete. I think he's got great receiving potential. He could be a steal in rookie drafts. Michael Mayer at 2, just prototypical wide tight end, plug and play, can be on the field 100% of the time. Very few concerns, just not that super high ceiling because he lacks a little bit of athleticism, but very, very safe prospect. And at 1, Dalton Kincaid, best receiver out of any of the tight ends in this class. Really impressive athlete, smooth route runner. I think he is incredible in and out of his breaks, and probably the best hands of anyone in this entire class across any position. He just doesn't drop balls. Those are my top 5s. Who have I missed out? Who have I got too high? Who have I got too low? Make sure you let me know in the comments below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, and there'll be more content coming your way.